2,400 in the first group. $1,300 in the second group. $9,000, 2,400. Everybody ready? Yep. $15,300 sandhill cranes. Start new roost, 2 trumpeter swans. I got 2,000 dark geese. I got another 5,600 sandhill cranes start new roost.
My name is Andy Caven. I'm the Director of Conservation Research at the Crane Trust. Our mission is to protect the biological and hydrological integrity of the Big Bend reach of the Platte River to serve as a life support system in migration for whooping cranes, sandhill cranes, and other migratory birds. We conducted an aerial sandhill crane survey this morning. The Crane Trust has been conducting those for over 20 years, and I've been leading those surveys for the last 7 years. We fly for 10 weeks from mid-February to mid-April. We wake up, dark 30. Usually we get to the trust around 5:15, 5:20. Drive to the Hastings airfield where we meet our current pilot, Paul Dunning. We fly to Chapman, Nebraska, and then we fly the 82 miles along the main channel of the Platte River south to Overton, Nebraska. Everybody asks me, why don't you use drones? And one reason is drones actually can't really work at this scale yet. At least not the kind most conservationists can afford.
You know, it's actually a lot busier than a guy thinks. They've got a certain distance they want away from the river so he can make his count at a fairly low altitude, and in my plane I've got to be fairly slow. And I'm looking out for other birds because there's always a ton of geese and ducks and cranes. We're watching out for other traffic. I'm watching out for towers and stuff like that, and then they ask me, hey, would you look in the fields to the south of you and see if you can find any birds so we can count them. So we're very busy in the airplane. I might not look it, but I'm constantly scanning and looking all over the place.
Lots of snows right now. They're everywhere.
Let me know if it's unsafe, buddy.
Know where I can go anyway. They're on all sides of me, all quadrants. They seem to be aware of my presence, and they're leaving the area.
He's a great pilot in general. We probably fly in like terrible conditions and it would just be like smooth sailing. We don't, obviously, but like he has so much experience that we could basically do anything and I'd feel safe.
Yeah, so Jenna is amazing. She's integral to this process. While I am counting, she is taking the GPS point of the roost and recording all that data.
Grand Isle Towers now open, class Delta service now provided to Grand Isle Regional Airport. Wind 300 at 5, altimeter 2999er, landing at 435.
800 sandhill cranes.
Skyway 74 Charlie Fox, just letting you know that we're westbound along the south side of the river, basically straight south of the airport now, flight of 2.
Skyway 4 Charlie Fox, Grand Isle Tower, roger, morning, altimeter 29999.
6,000 sandhill cranes. 2,300 sandhill cranes.
What was that?
2,300 sandhill cranes, and then one group of 300 sandhill cranes.
I want to double check because they were talking to Grand Island at the same time. So we had 2,000, 2,000, 6,000, 800, 2,300, 300.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Okay. There's two white birds. Let's circle over the river real quick. Circle the river. Shoot, get your camera ready. Circle tight, Paul.
All right, we're gonna make a right-hand
Ready.
turn. Right on top of all these snows too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're right on top of the whoopers, though. Pretty damn sure those are whoopers.
I don't know, they don't seem very tall.
Yep, I think they're swans. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there's our wink.
We'll go with two swans then. Nice circling, Paul, with all the variables going on, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
You fly over, you count the birds, and you count in a grouping sense, you know. I usually, if I have time, you know, I'll count out 10, multiply that 10 in place, have my 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 500, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and go like that. Like visually, you're counting a number of birds, seeing how big that polygon is, and then replicating it in space.
It's like go, 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 go the entire time. And then at the end, you kind of have like a sigh of relief. And you're like, oh, we did it, we made it.
And usually those guys, you know, they'll take a nap on the way back home. And I understand that. I mean, try to think about counting 600 to 800,000 cranes in a 1 hour and 15-minute flight. That's an insane amount of birds to try to count.
It's an hour of maxing your brain out. Then, you know, it's over. We enter all our data in our long-term database. Then I write a little public blurb. I'll release that count the day after we do it to the public, and everybody's excited there's more birds. What we hope they take away from it is this is one of the last great migrations on Earth. In reality, we're collecting it for, you know, different reasons. We're here technically for the whooping crane. And the sandhill cranes can be a pretty good surrogate for whooping cranes. The whooping cranes also like wide open views, shallow water depth, riparian wetlands. There's still a semblance of that American Serengeti left here. And we hope that that inspires people to want to preserve it. I think that's why the big numbers are important. We still have this amazing thing to come and witness. It is not just the largest gathering of cranes in North America, it's the largest gathering of cranes in the world.
The number reflects how much hard work, not just the Crane Trust is doing, but like other conservation organizations. They're extremely hard workers. Like they're not going to give up without a fight.
This study really helps us, one, look at how the ecosystem's changing over time, and two, serves as an indicator of how well all us conservation organizations are doing. And what's happened is the once wide braided Prairie River has become much more woodland dominated. This started in the 1890s, but most changes have been observed since the completion of Kingsley Dam in the late 1930s, which in the 1950s, peak abundance of sandhill cranes was in the Cozad, Gothenburg area, which we don't even count anymore because there's 0 cranes. So the character of the river has changed. Counting cranes has really taught us that these cranes are coming earlier, staying longer, shifting east, and packing in to fewer areas where the river has changed less, and there's still significant treeless expanses of meadow and prairie. We found that the places there's still large expanses of wet meadows, there's increasing densities of sandhill cranes. If I was, could go like that and change things, change the world with snap my fingers, I'd like to see a meadow prairie corridor within a half mile either side of the main channel of the Platte River. Counting cranes has also taught us that the number of cranes is increasing. There's always a risk with disease and high densities and everything else, but they're, you know, a species that I'm hopeful about. Our job's not done. What we need to do is think about the health of all these species, and if we think big and we make the Platte River the best place it can be, in 50 years, this could be a stronghold and an important migration stopover and breeding area, not just for species that are our targets now, but for many more species at threat 50 years from now. So if we succeed for the cranes, we succeed for all this other stuff, right? And we have to think big.